What's up everybody, my name is Barbecue and today I am very excited to bring you a Barbarian PvP guide. This guide will be utilizing the Barbarian's Hammer of the Ancients ability as well as Steel Grasp. I like to call this combination Hammer of the Chain-cients, so if that sounds fun to you, please stick around and check out the short showcase of this build. Okay, so let's discuss why you should be using Hammer of the Chain-cients in PvP. First, let's talk about the pros. So, the build has insane one-shot potential. Usually it only takes about 1 to 3 hits to destroy your opponent. It does have a lot of defenses, so it is not a full glass cannon build. I did try that and experiment a little bit, but I was getting one-shotted pretty badly myself, and it just didn't feel too good to PvP that way. The build does utilize Perma Unstoppable if you do utilize certain skills and aspects. It is more fun than any other HoTA build in my opinion, except for maybe a build that uses Leap. It doesn't take a lot of min-maxing to feel strong. Of course, the more you do, the better you will perform, but HoTA is so overtuned in PvP already that usually it doesn't take a lot of min-maxing to get out there and start one-shotting people. And lastly, Chains plus HoTA combination is probably the most satisfying combination I've ran into in PvP. Okay, so we have to talk about the cons. The build does require pretty good APM actions per minute and positioning for using Steel Grasp, so you do have to kind of have quick fingers, although if you do practice, you will get better. It does rely on steel grasp to apply vulnerability. Of course, we are using our exploit aspect, but we do not use pressure points in our skill tree. We are relying on steel grasp for that. You should be constantly using it on your opponents for stun and vulnerability anyways. It is not the best HoTA build. What I mean by that is you can do a lot more boring HoTA builds, but they probably will perform better. For example, when I try to run Hammer of the Chain-cients against like basic Iron Skin, Lunging Strike, BARBs, they generally end up beating me. So it's not the most meta build, but it is definitely the most fun. And the elixirs can be expensive. The ones you want to use are either resourcefulness or cruelty. I like cruelty in PvP because usually HoTA versus HoTA BARB comes down to whoever crits first, and it gives you 15% crit chance. So the first technique that I suggest you learn and practice a lot is what I like to call dash canceling. Now, dash canceling is just another name for animation canceling. And long story short, grasping chains or steel grasp has a lot of lag after you use it. So after you use it and before you can do another action, especially HoTA, there is a lot of lag. So I figured out a technique to cancel this end lag, and I actually have 2 different videos regarding this subject. You can see the thumbnails for them here and here, and I highly suggest you go and watch these videos. You can find the links to both of them in the description. I super suggest you go watch the one on dash canceling right now, and then continue this video after you familiarized yourself with the technique. Alright, so if you're heading into PvP, it is a good idea to make sure you are capable of having Perma Unstoppable up. This requires that you have pretty much full cooldown reduction, as well as the martial glyph equipped, so that when you use your shouts near mobs, the cooldowns of them get reduced to about 10 seconds. Then we also utilize the aspect of the Iron Warrior, which allows us to be unstoppable when we use Iron Skin for 4 seconds. We use this Iron Skin Unstoppable 4-second use to fill the gap in the time that our shout cooldowns have worn off and refreshed itself. So as you can see here in the video, if timed correctly, that results in us being permanently unstoppable. Alright, let's take a look at the skill tree here. We have Lunging Strike and Enhanced Lunging Strike just as prerequisites to get us to the next tier of nodes. And the next tier of nodes here, all we have is full Hammer of the Ancients as well as Enhanced and Furious Hammer of the Ancients. We are not taking Pressure Point. Up here we have only 1 point into Rallying Cry. We do have 3 to defensive skills from our amulet, so this brings us up to 4, which gives us amazing resource generation for only 1 point and allows us to free up those points for other things, which is amazing. Same with Iron Skin, we only have 1 point here, and then Challenging Shout we have maxed for the full damage reduction. Moving up here we have 1 point into Warcry, Enhanced, and Power Warcry. 3 in Booming Voice is an absolute staple. I also have 3 in Guttural Yell for damage reduction to nearby enemies. And Raid Leader I only have 1 point in just so I have some sort of healing when I'm running around kiting waiting for cooldowns. We have 1 into Aggressive Resistance and 3 into Prolific Fury. You'll notice that I have 3 points into Swiftness. These 3 points are actually the 3 points from Pressure Point. So the nice thing about these is this is like a personal flair type of thing. If you want more healing with Raid Leader, you can put it there. For PvP, I overvalue movement speed a lot. I think movement speed is like the most important stat in PvP. So I have Swiftness up. I do have max move speed when my shouts are up, but for the rare times and those few seconds in between when I don't have max movement speed, this helps a lot. Plus, even if you have max movement speed on paper, you can never really plan for people slowing you and snaring you and all that good stuff. We have 3 into No Mercy for extra crit chance. We have 3 into Pit Fighter, 1 into Steel Grasp Enhance, and 1 into Fighter's Steel Grasp, so that when we do hook people, we immediately get Berserking to knock them down. Then up here, we have no ultimate. We only have 3 into Heavy Handed, 3 into Wallop, and 3 into Concussion. If you can get an amulet that adds skills to Wallop, that will boost your bludgeoning damage a lot, which is good. And then of course we have Unbridled Rage in the last spot here. For the expertise, we are going to be using the two-handed sword expertise. This gives us 20% of any direct damage we do is inflicted as bleeding over 5 seconds. This is nice for rogues and sorcerers that try to run around and kite us and play super evasive. They still have some sort of damage on them while they're running away. They can't just heal, use a potion, and just get free healing while they're kiting around. They're still going to be taking bleeding damage. Alternatively, you can always be using two-handed axe. This is never a bad play. This will give you 15% increased damage to vulnerable enemies, which, as you know, our opponents are pretty much always vulnerable due to our exploit glyph and our grasping chains. Okay guys, let's get into the gear and aspects here. Just a reminder, everything here is kind of a snapshot in time. The reason I say that is I change these all the time. I am very happy with how they are now, but just take that with a grain of salt and feel free to experiment however you like. For the helm, we have maximum fury, armor, cooldown reduction, and strength, as well as the Iron Warrior aspect on the helm. This is going to give our Iron Skin unstoppable, as well as a lot of damage reduction. Without this piece, we would not be able to be permanently unstoppable. For the chest here, we're running with 4 ranks of Challenging Shout, as well as triple DR. You can see I've opted to run Disobedience on the chest instead of the amulet. For the gloves, we have attack speed, crit strike chance, lucky hit chance, and ranks of Hammer of the Ancient, as well as our Relentless Berserkers aspect here. For the pants, we do have Numbing Wrath with max life and triple DR. For boots, we're running with Ghostwalker. These have strength, fury cost reduction, movement speed, and berserking duration, with the Ghostwalker aspect on those. Our weapons have core, crit, 165 strength, and vuln. This is our two-handed bludgeon with Hammer of the Ancient's Ancestral Force aspect. Dual wield weapon 1 is strength, vulnerable, crit, and core with Edge Masters. Dual weapon 2 is strength, all stat, core, and vulnerable with Berserk ripping aspect. Our two-handed slash is vuln, strength, crit, and core. This has our Limitless Rage aspect on it. Our amulet is going to have Anemia aspect on it. The reason we're running this on the amulet is so that we have a higher chance to stun enemies that are bleeding. And for our rings, we have Max Fury, Resource Generation, Crit Strike, and Crit Chance with Echoing Fury. And Vulnerable, Resource, Max Fury, and Crit Strike Chance with Bold Chieftains. Alright, so lastly, let's get into the Paragon board here. Before we start, I do just want to say that I did use Rob2628's build on D4 builds, the High Nightmare Dungeon build, as an inspiration for this Paragon, and I did tweak it a little bit to my liking, so I just want to throw that out there. I did not come up with this 100% by myself. I did use his as a skeleton and kind of tweaked it from there. But anyways, this is my board here. Our first board starts with Territorial. Our second board is going to have the Martial Glyph in it, and it is going to be the Weapon Master board. Over here on board 3 is going to be the Warbringer board, and we are using the Wrath Glyph here. You can see we opted not to go for Warbinger here. That's because we have enough Fortify with Numbing Wrath aspect on our legs, so we're saving all of these Paragon points to use for actually this extra bludgeon damage up here, which is nice. So once again, that's Warbringer with the Warbringer board with Wrath. Then we're going to move up to here where we have the Decimator board with the Might Glyph socket. Moving over here, we will have the Bonebreaker board with the exploit glyph. Over here, we're grabbing those extra two-handed damage weapon or aspects here, or buffs, I should say, Paragon buffs. And then our last board here is going to be Flawless Technique, and here we are running the Imbiber glyph. You can see a lot of people running Undaunted here. I prefer the Imbiber glyph for the extra healing in PvP. It helps a lot. So that's our Paragon boards here. If you need any of this information, the D4 build guide for this video will be in the description below. Alright guys, I think I covered everything in the video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments section down below. Remember, the D4 build will be linked in the description, so go ahead and click that and go ahead and follow everything there. Also, I am interested in creating a in-game clan just to have more people to chat with, so if you are interested in something like that, please go ahead and let me know in the comments section, and be sure to leave your battle tag so I can create the clan and send out clan invites. Hope you guys get out there and rip in some PvP. See you soon.